David writes well about music, and you write about it a lot. When I think of a piece, I just think of a sound. I don't think of what is it, little description.
Well, you were had your thing, I just what are you playing?
Oh, piano singing.
You sing to your own piano playing?
I used to. Now I'm barely talk. I love to sing. You have that. You have that.
Yeah, your voice is
perfect. No idea how perfect. She can sing it. People really suffer when you have perfect pitch. They stay on pitch. Yeah.
My sister.
It's very helpful, but it's actually not very good to have perfect pitch because everything, all the sound that is out there are not always on pitch, so you go crazy.
Oh,
I don't know. I've been singing with a chorus for 15 years. It's taken me really long time to develop pitch and to hear it. Because I like the saxophone. I went to hear this woman who I saw and she is really always on pitch. The guy who plays piano with her, who sang, the first time I really noticed slight, he was off pitch. And I think there are certain things that happen in the chorus that you get warned. At the end of a phrase, you tend to go flat, you lose air. And doing it left and right, at the top and at the bottom of the range, it wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it was, but it wasn't. My saxophone teacher says, commit to the notes, he says. And he wouldn't commit to his notes. He would be flat at the top, flat at the bottom. I could hear him kind of fudging his phrases to go from one phrase to another. His transition would be sharp. It's good. It's nice to hear that. I couldn't hear that.
You want to help them, tell them to put a sock in it.
Yeah,
you take a sock, and stick it in the saxophone, and you mute it. And he has to play, he has to blow. He can blow as loud as he wants to, because they're afraid the neighbors will hear. There's always this thing where some students, when they practice, are holding back. And one girl, she would practice in her closet because she found just now here, cello. I said, well, learn one good song that all the neighbors like. When you hear walking, right, and start playing that song, that works. But really, I learned that both with the trumpet, any brass instrument or any wind instrument that has a bell on it, if you put a mute on it, what happens is the person has to blow out even to hear how it is. And they'll get used to using their full breath. And then when they learn to back off, that's when you get the great tone. But the biggest problem with students is they always have an anemic idea of the tone of their instrument. And as they get into it, it sounds like there's no blood in what they're doing.
Yeah, I get that complaint a lot from my teacher.
Exactly. So what you want to do is, like on the violin, I actually make people do a thing called sticky bow, where you scratch it so it sounds like a rusty old door. And what that does is it's the maximum pressure that you can put on the string. And what happens is if you can get that scratching going, then all you have to do is ease up just the slightest, and all of a sudden, boom, you got a tone pop. And that's what you want to go for. So I learned this in painting. It's called limited palette. If you want to learn to paint really well, only use one color. And see whatever you can do with that one color. Just add black and white to it. That was what causes theory was about. So on instruments, confine people to one scale for 4 months. So they only play that one scale for 4 months. And what happens is, because in books they're trying to teach you all these scales. You learn the C scale and you move over to the G scale and the F scale, and by the time you're getting to the D flat scale, you can't even remember what happened in the first. which is not a good idea. So have them play in one key for like 3 or 4 months until they're just not even thinking about their fingers. All they're doing, they're talking to you and playing. And if they can talk to you and play, they got it. It's totally right brain. And then anything they hear, they can start. The next thing is to put a lexical or some kind of symbol on that, and that's what they have to learn to read, and then do some ear training. So you make the ear intelligent. But it doesn't need. Our sense of hearing is the oldest sense that we have. It turns out it's developed before we're born. We have to learn to see after we're born. We have to learn to feel after we're born, because when we're in our mother, we're in the exact temperature.
Yeah, my son used to dance
Deprivation.
to Ghostbusters when they
Exactly.
in the belly. So when he came out, he really liked Ghostbusters.
So the interesting thing is, when a person is born, their sense of hearing is fully developed. They've heard music concrete because they've listened to the gastrointestinal and the heart beating and all the internal sounds of a human being, which are like, you know, crazy. And they come out and they know good sound from bad sound right out of the womb. And all the other senses have to be developed. So the sound is fully born, and it's your best moral compass. If I watch people and I get a tune from them and I don't like it, I know them. If I meet people and I get a good vibe, then I get to know them. So I trust my ear, and I've trained all my other senses to take the same point of view as my ear. And so what happens is now I can just, and I've learned to play 50 musical instruments in the last 10 years.
You've learned to play.
56 musical instruments. I play every musical instrument in the orchestra, and now I've been working on a lot of ethnic, which is why, I want to see you.
You play the harp?
You sell, do you sell Celtic harps? Like 17 string?
They used to.
Yeah, I know you did. I mean, you used to have them with little feet on them. Because I got one from you.
Oh, you did?
The harp in my window I got from you. No, I got a little Celtic harp that I played with. But now I have 2 students who want to get harps. And I looked at musiciansfriend.com where I used to get those things, and they don't carry them anymore. And they're not carrying anything that's coming out of Pakistani, or they're not anything coming from the Middle East and even from India. They're not carrying it anymore. There's something going on, embargo or something's happening. So I was looking for bagpipes, I was looking for didgeridoo and things, and they're not carrying them anymore. And I know that you specialize. Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, since 2012.
Oh well, that's like
But call
week. We've known each other for almost 37 years. Yeah, I will. I'll Larry and Tony now. And I looked at Lark in the morning and they closed. It's on the catalog's not online anymore, but the summer camp. That's all they talk about now. The summer camp. That's all it is. It's Lark in the morning summer camp. That's it. And Lark in the morning specializes in Celtic instruments. So like if you wanted, you know, these old wooden flutes, you know, these beautiful, beautiful Celtic instruments. Lots of harps, lots of harmoniums. I don't know what happened to them.
That's a beauty to it.
Oh yeah, oh yes, it's a fiddle flute. This is a recorder, it's a soprano recorder. You have the soprano, and then you go up.
And this one's a pitch, and it doesn't have a hole at the end.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying, and the way you play it is you cover up these 4 holes.
I have to make sure it's recording.
I used to know how to play this. I could play that.
Down there.
You can play on the fiddle flute. They also have them made out of clay that look like things like lizards, or I've got one that looks like
Ocarinas and stuff.
It's like an ocarina.
Well, the
but
holes
that's
in
it.
this are
When you have
ocarina
4
holes.
holes, this is a fiddle flute.
I remember the actual song that would follow up that line. Yeah, the 80s piece was kind of cool. Some of that stuff was
You're growling.
pre-80s.
Yeah, but this, you can also, this one you can whistle.
Yeah, come on there.
Right.
But I know that
You can play harmony. I do that with my bamboo
Now it's
flute.
going up.
When I really get rolling, it happens once in a while. I can whistle into it, I can play it, and can growl, I can do trio. But I have to really be rolling.
I used to play chords on the bridge. I learned from Ross on rolling Kirk.
Yeah, that's my man.
This is my best friend for 25 years.
Great musician.
Grew up in Chicago, amongst all the great jazz musicians. Studied with William Russo most of my life.
I don't know this, but Kirk I followed.
William Russo was the composer for Stan Hensley. From the 40s all the way through to the 50s. Then in the 60s he opened the Columbia College of Music. He hooked up with Columbia University in Chicago and developed their music department. And put together a thing called the Chicago Free Theater.
You know about the jazz school in Berkeley?
You mean in Boston, Berkeley, or Berkeley?
No. Susan Muscarella in Berkeley here.
Here, okay. No, I don't know.
Check it out. I don't know if you need work or want work or
You don't, no, believe me, I'm beyond work.
Well, check out the jazz.
I got more work than I need.
Check out the jazz school in Berkeley.
I just finished my first symphony, and I'm excited now. I'm just getting all my
Cool.
MIDI stuff back together so I can record it and hear what it sounds like. Yeah, 8 years. 8 years. And 50 years to learn to compose, to start it.
I'll send you information about the jazz.
Oh, I'd love that. Yeah, please email me. You guys are going to get going again.
Be back afterwards. Well, it's nice to know who we're after.
So this is my book.
Okay.
I think, you know, it's part of your.
All right.
So it's got a CD about it.
All right.
Kinds of goodies you got here. Wow.
Stars from the 60s and 70s. Each movie, yeah, each one was like 50s, but the reruns are on television.
Yeah, from Mickey Mouse stage in the 50s.
Yeah,
Each one has lyrics.
really?
Yeah. About 65. Usually about 10 minutes. Like,
Well, I know Elvis, his Beach movies were
Okay, welcome back to the second half of Sacred Grounds Open Mic.
Hey.
Wednesday, April 9th. My name is Greg Pond. I will be your host and facilitator for the second half. And we have about 4 or 5 poets in our mini feature and some fantastic prizes here. So I hope you all will stay. All right. Our first poet of the second half is P.W. Covington. P.W. This is P.W.'s first time. Let's give him a welcome.
This is my first time to read in the Bay Area in 10 years. I live in South Texas where, among other things, I'm a mental health facilitator and cattle rancher. But I do write a little bit. I'm going to read a couple of pieces out of my latest book. It's called I Did Not Go Looking for This. I'd like to donate a copy of that for tonight's raffle. But yeah, the last time I read in the Bay Area was 2004. I was over in Berkeley, and I used to read at the Priya restaurant reading.
Oh, yeah.
Over there.
We moved to Himalayan flavors.
Oh, right on. And this is a poem I very rarely read out of this collection because it's just nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about where I live. I wrote this in the Berkeley Public Library, and I was about halfway down the stairs one day, and I looked out and I saw the Golden Gate way the hell over there. It's called On a Clear Day. On a clear day, you can see the Golden Gate from here. On a clear day. On a clear day. On a clear day, I wouldn't be here. What's a clear day anyway? I want to climb those orange towers, pull back those cables and launch myself, hit the ground somewhere near Dallas. On a clear day, all my thoughts in order, linear again. all American, the conventional way on a clear day. But that wind blows steady across the bay, the dust of the mission, the tenderloin swill gets stacked like cheap novels against Berkeley hills, and the sun setting off towards San Rafael may never come back, I heard it say, to a clear day. I first wrote this at the beginning of a road trip to Utah, South Texas. A tattered copy of Sirens of Titan is chosen over bad motel TV at the start of a 5-state road trip. Coffee, sleeping pills, and truck stops. $4 gasoline seems too much to spend for poetry and words of witness shouted into the irrelevant abyss. Our nation is still a large, large place. Every bit as big as it seems when you step away from Diplo-speak war on drugs. Red state, blue state scenes. Miles seem longer and horizons farther once you get yourself out past Abilene. Soaring over landscapes at 30,000 feet like an invading trooper to drop from the air cannot compare to the time and investment in driving there. Coastal plains turn into desert like the dryness that sometimes desiccates my soul, but climbing ever higher shifts things greener, not through rain or storms, but elevations, altitude, attitude, the angle of approach. Driving on with 4 wheels firmly planted in nothingness, crossing state lines in the dark as if they meant something, as if they meant anything at all. Roadside poets and alley cats, discordant music, pork pie hats, superstitious mountains, rippled nipples peeking from silky chemises, rock shocks and psycho cops adding air to the left front tire in a Las Cruces parking lot. Lower Pima County steampunk truck stops. Free speech in Phoenix confined to an alley. True story. History of longevity and that one motherfucker of a cat from a Bukowski paperback driving onward through Maricopa darkness like Kerouac with the back seat packed. Don't give up, don't give up, don't cry, don't die, don't scream. They'll get you then, and the sun will come up if you lose or if you win. Take away the takeaway, burn minutes into miles like it's always been done. Caffeine, nicotine, grass and desert sand, sandstone arches, green sheen north of Moab. Keep going, keep moving. Shipwreck, Colorado line. It just takes time. Time is all you have with the hours of your life. You're only paying for the gas. I'll give you one more. I really read this one as well. This is something I wrote in Berkeley. Another one I wrote in 2004. The inspiration for this is a picture that was taken outside of City Lights, 1965, Palm Beach there. Berkeley poem number 8. I live in a world declared dead in a photograph taken in 1965. Where dreams and drums and a road map knapsack combined in the poetry and music of being alive. I speak a strange dialect so rarely heard, unfathomable behind media screams. The truth obscured from the dust of the herd, and the black and white fortunes from traded in dreams are clogging our senses for things in between. Yet it is not a country of corpses I see in the coffee houses, bookstores, soup lines, and bars. I see tangles and briars of arches and spires built from the ashes, constructed from scars. There are stars in the night burning poetry. 400 octane American dreams casting bright shadows from soul onto soul, destroying the stalls where freedom is sold. And coast to coast, they're at it tonight. In jail cells, in tenements, and down on Skid Row. They're charting a course that will all soon follow, adrift no longer unsure, steady keel, ambitions seaworthy and anchored of steel. It's real. The words and the rhythms that flow here today are vital, needed in the truest of ways. chipping away, laws written in clay, no way left to pay. As we hitchhike down a million folk ways from a room at the Hobohemia YMCA. Thank y'all, everybody. My name is P.W. Television.
Thank you, PW. Welcome back, and thank you for contributing your fine book. I did not go looking for this. All right. Next up, I know he's had a rough evening, but I know Garrett Murphy would like to share some of his wonderful poetry with us. Garrett.
Just got one piece to read tonight. It's a poem written, an attempt of mine to write in the style of a Langston Hughes poem. It's called Truth But Self Equals. Listen to your inner self, good people. Be true to that self, good people. If more of you did that, crime just might drop its jaw.
Garrett. I guess I'll go next. I'll share a few with you. Okay, this is an old one. It's entitled The Abused Muse. In quest of his greatest masterpiece, a wild and crazy artist seeks the flick of a thick bristled brush to beat broad strokes of crimson flush across crumpled sheets and scarlet cheeks where hints of frustration and bittersweet inspiration rub the morning raw and swollen shut up and drunk too early in the day. Black-eyed Susan sits alone musing, blowing blues through the window while he vividly paints last night's bruises away, in hues of purple passion and violet violence, as fingers fling flecks tainted red from cracked palate and rough I'm sorry sex, fractured and captured in vibrant color by number, backhanded and spilled on smudged palate, left arm twisted in sling, covering brilliant tint over thick coat hiding scratches on broken skin, with splashes of blush under eyes to disguise signs from swings of batter up, causing brief losses of conscious sight. Until one night, an accidental smear sparked another vicious fight. With pent-up rage no longer contained, single shot sent snap, crackle, pop, a flash of hot light, a hole through the heart, wide as a canvas sky, spattered and splattered across his last masterpiece, while she calmly awaits the arrival of the police, and for the paint and the blood to dry. Time is running out. Time is running out. Every tick of the clock is another second lost, with so much left to prove. I'm not sure where we're going from here, or if we even know what to do. Will we ever come together to move our agenda? Do we throw our hands up to the man and simply surrender? Or should we retrace every step our ancestors had to take to get from January to December? Time drips like a leaky faucet now, every drop another trickle, Another quarter, dime, or nickel spent trying to tie together the loose ends of things we no longer remember when we seem to have forgotten the lessons from elders back then. They held us strong and tender before we got displaced. It's never gonna get much better if we don't take time to get our shit together. We don't have forever, not a moment left for doubt. The hour is getting very late. Our time is running out. And one more. Size 12. His feet smelled of boredom and socks that got too close to overheated streets along the aimless blocks he roamed. The pavement beat against his soles, logging the mileage of directions he chose. His feet smelled of indifference, ceasing to care anymore. He had forgotten how to glide. Now his shoes just weighed him down at the heels on one side. Loose ends not tied, open laces pulled slight, toes unknowingly tapped, the road ahead now mapped. His feet smelled of wasted opportunities, walking down the wrong road far too many times with far too little to show. Gone too far with still too far to go, going through the motions to follow where fate goes. His feet smelled of hopelessness combined with the lingering scent of potential unfulfilled mixed with too much time killed and too much time spent, crawling to the rhythm of the walking blues. It all ended up with too much of the funky stuff in his basketball dunking shoes. His feet smelled of broken down dreams, broken from the bridge, down the bottom of the stream, broken to the bone. An early morning scream was the only sound. No one to witness, no note was found, and the only evidence, a pair of old sneakers left, lying at the scene. Thank you. Next up, we have Jason Hyatt. Jason Hyatt.
Karma? Karma is coming. I see on the text from this stalker I was never even intimate with. Refused her kiss. Even still, after assiduously never replying for 6 weeks. So she is taking the role of deciding karma, like a club, instead of a filter of introspection people use to examine their own lives. This sounds like a threat, so maybe I better break my rule and read the rest. I'm horrified you would let me commit suicide. But everyone advises me she is disturbed, not to interact with her mindfuck words, skillful lassos she throws at my soul. Instead of killing myself, next time I see you, I'm going to slap your face, fitting for a cad. Good for her, turning to anger instead. But isn't that a threat of physical assault? Or doesn't it count because I'm the man in our relationship, as she portrays it? Would this be called delusional? Me in no relationship. Just a man who said no. A right women exercise that people easily understand. If she slaps me in front of my community, what if that happened here in front of you? Everyone will assume I must have done something to her. Women will avoid me, men too, and never forget. There's some kind of rules. If she's beating me, I can try to cover my face, But be careful not to grab her arms to stop her. Who would have known that? Maybe not even block her blows. Just pray she doesn't bruise herself, or I'll be the one going to jail. And the longer she hits, the worse people will think I must be. Never know who to believe. Who would want to listen to her countless voicemails? For now, my communities, my lifelines, my support are closed to me. How long will this go on? It's been 6 weeks, I ask. Try 6 months, I hear. This is the cloud I wish was not hanging over me. She must have given me her ultimate test, her ultimate hook. Played the suicide card I didn't read because she texts, I hate you for being willing to let me die. This is the primal bottom line. She calls me out. Yes, I am. And it's not so easy to say because it's the truth. Again, this tough choice she forces in her emotional rape of me, choosing between her life and mine. I choose mine. How can I say I wasn't willing in refusing to be swayed by her blackmail? I was taken in by this game years ago, not again. So how could she say I wasn't just calling her bluff? Didn't believe she would? Isn't that a bitch? When the only way to prove she means it is to kill herself and then not be able to say, I told you so. No wonder she hates me. But relishing any of this would play right into her hand. So go in peace if you can, in fury if you will. You know not what you do. I forgive you. I'm sorry you are going through this. I do not want a relationship with you. Please let this be closure for you. It is closure for me. Please do not contact me. But all of this speaking makes relationship. So I can say none of it. It is there, the siren offer of her emotional field. Someone in love with me, enveloping me, so tempting, promising what I've always wanted. No, not her. Heaven's door. Knock on heaven's door. Bang, bang, bang. Let me in, I say, right now. Or do I have to die? Which eye is that? And who will be left? Is that soon? Or was it a moment ago? How long does it last until I forget again? Or for eternity? Lost inside the foam on my gesticulating lips. Tongue glimpsed, writhing, like a blind snake with no mouth. So how can it eat while it talks, unless it's the wrong question to begin with? And there isn't any right question, because none of it makes any sense. Because making sense is not the answer, not really. Not lying languidly in the spaces between the words. Nostrils feeling the cool wind as it all drops away. Infinite, unchanging universe, everywhere, even as gesticulating hands and anxious tongue fall still.
Thank you, Jason. All right, we have 2 more poets. Next week up we have Richard Ivanhoe. He's back.
Thank you. So, this is April poem. April is already here. Seems to happen every year. April has its fool days, its cruel days, its cool days. April can be a taxing month, or perhaps a relaxing month. I missed the St. Stupid's Day parade again this year, but there's still time to celebrate Straw Hat Month, Rubber Eraser Day, International Juggler's Day, National Cheese Ball Day, and National Humor Month. The Civil War started in April, as did the war in Bosnia, Oklahoma City, Waco, Chernobyl, Columbine, all in April. The Titanic sunk, Lincoln and Martin Luther King, both shot. The 1906 earthquake and fire, big crowd at 100, but nobody loves you past that. Baseball starts in April, Jazz Appreciation Month, 420 on Hippie Hill, and we're here during National Poetry Month. Now, I could write a depressing metaphor about how I feel like a non-biodegradable plastic bag, or how little I've accomplished. Kind of like trying to get a public toilet on Haight Street. But instead, I'll celebrate National Poetry Month. Locally, here at Sacred Ground, throughout the city, Homes Under the Dome, and anywhere else. And one short one. Traditional weapons vow. I, your government, take thee, the people, for unlawfully bleeding strife, to laugh at and to scold, for each slay offshore. Every better knows it will get worse. I'll be richer and you poorer, with my slickness and my wealth, until death tears you apart.
Richard, and we have one more fantastic poet. We're saving one of the best for last. It's this evening's mini feature, and it is Karen Huff. Give her a big hand.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good. I think that's good. When I was a little girl, I was completely fascinated with airplanes. My father, who I didn't know, had been a pilot, and I wanted to fly more than anything. So by the time I was 11, I knew enough that I could actually pass the written portion of the private pilot's test, but of course they wouldn't let me take it. And I had read all of the things written by the really famous early aviators. I'd read both of Charles Lindbergh's books. I'd read a ton of stuff about Amelia Earhart, Errol Markham. Yeah, this was all a couple generations before me, but it was the beginning of flight that fascinated me. So in 6th grade, had this English teacher whose greatest joy in life was rapping people's knuckles with a ruler. And she said, "You will write a poem." So I found this the other day. This is the poem I wrote, and of course got accused of plagiarism. It's called Male Pilot's Meditation, 1924. How cold and bitter winter winds blow on dark and lonely fields below. But here the air is clear, stars are bright. I race with the moon to conquer night. Wind through my struts plays songs to the stars, sings sweet love songs to Venus and Mars. Men laugh on earth, but I feel like a god. What can they know, tied down to the sun? Oh, to forever fly on with the moon, but Chicago's near, landing is soon. The beacons below, red flash in the night. The guide to the airman, rudder to right. The airfield appears in the mist of dawn. I land, now conquered, while the moon flies on. Daniel's guitar. Patterns weaving webs of starlight as you play the day to evening. Notes of moonbeams, golden, dancing on the wave crest of Neptune's kingdom. Green-flecked spider, Arachne's sister, weaves with silver threads of starlight, patterns fleeting and returning. Weaves with starlight in the silvered notes you play. Obfuscated again. My friend writes to me, "You are the unexpected wind that blows the sailor way off course, so he can discover new lands." I cannot fathom whether this is the sweetest thing a man has ever said to me, or if it is the most eloquent way of expressing what a pain in the ass I can be. And perhaps I should continue hanging out with sea lions and avoid men entirely until I learn to better interpret their enigmatic words. Last bus. Listen to me. No one listens. I don't know why I even try. But that little boy there, you've got to protect him. You've got to pay attention to what I tell you. They are everywhere, in the White House, all around us. They might be right next door. You see that driver? He's one of theirs. A robot. You couldn't tell, but I know. He runs off the bus lights. All part of the plot. Here's my stop. Good night. He must be very lonely, you said, as night swallowed him home. Isabel Allende wrote a marvelous version of the Zorro movie, of the Zorro legend. Good book, they made a movie out of it. And this is for Zorro. I saw you dancing through the dusty yellow window of an old cantina in Nogales. All in black, spurs jangling, as you pulled the mariachi music with you around someone's head. You held a red rose in your teeth. I saw blood where a thorn had pierced your lip. Your eyes were candlelight and ice. I couldn't see their color. I loved you. I couldn't speak. I stole your horse. Last one, this is from last week. Night. Night falls, and a child headed home from her best friend's house does not return. Her delicate bones are scattered in the street. She did not hear the thing coming. The boy sent out to search is confounded. How could a sister vanish in such a short distance? Night falls in Kazan. Night falls and a family wanders, stunned through what little remains of the home they built when they returned here, to the place their grandparents were driven out of. One cup intact, a child's doll, a few clothes to carry on the road that does not lead to safety. Night falls.